Hello everyone, and welcome to tomorrow's weather today. I am Jacob, and this is our first video on the channel. And today we're going to be talking about the potential subtropical or tropical system that could develop in the southwestern Atlantic. Now this is going to form right off the coast of Florida if this does, and near the Bahamas. As of right now, it has a 70% chance in the next 2 days and 80% chance in the next 5 days to develop. It right now is to the south of Florida into north of Cuba, and will move off to the northeast in the next few days. So here are the forecasts on tropical tidbits for Invest 90 out, which it is deemed intense forecast. A lot of models, or all the models here, do bring it up to a tropical storm strength at some point, reaching, and one model bringing it up to 55 knots at max intensity. Now, if we go back to the track, you can see that most all the models take it off in this general northeast direction. Some are bringing it more west than others, and some are bringing it more east than others. But the general idea is that it's going to stay off the coast, and it's going to move in the northeasterly direction for the entirety of its life. On satellite, if this loads, um, we're going to go over to the visible high res since it is still light out, and you can see that we do have a large area of cloudiness all over here in to the south of Florida. Uh, If you look really closely, you can kind of see maybe some signs of a trough of low pressure right in there. Um, at the surface, you have winds coming in like that out of the northeast on in the top. And if you look closely at the clouds, you can definitely see some northerlies or southerlies on the eastern side. Looking very closely at the satellite loop here. It's definitely not open. I mean, it's definitely not closed, as winds are still kind of going like that, and there's really no um, northwesterlies down there. That's okay for now. Regardless if this does develop or not, we're going to be seeing some heavy winds and some gusty winds for southern Florida and the Bahama Islands, and maybe some even heavy rains for northern Cuba as well. So for the GFS model, you can see that here's our system where it exactly is right now. This is 6 hours out. So if we take it ahead a little bit, we can see that it's trying to develop it more um, to the south than it was the past few days. And as it brings it up, it does bring it down to 10:04. Doesn't look so great. I'm thinking that right here it is a subtropical storm, a weak one at that. If it is a tropical, if it does have tropical storm force winds at all, and we move it ahead, it does bring it down to 993, and this is the most western track that I think we're going to see today with the two models that we're going to look at. And then it brings it off the coast as a decent tropical storm, and then it dies out mid next week. So let's look at the surface pressure and 10-meter winds. This is right off the grounds. Um, right here, it definitely is closed. You definitely do have westerlies on the southern side, which do indicate a closed low and not an open tropical wave. And a tropical wave would look like that, and no westerlies on the southern side. Doesn't really get its act together until up here, and this is when we do see it become a tropical storm, when we do have those 34 knot winds, and then we move it on, and then it becomes stronger, but it's probably extra tropical by now, possibly baroclinic, as there might be some sort of a warm front right up there, as the winds do shift rapidly, and there's a little area of weaker winds, and then it dies off, like I said. So why do we expect this to be subtropical? Well, it is May. It's not really the hurricane season yet. Um, And if we look at the precipitation, if we look at the relative humidity, we're going to notice a few things. So here we definitely have it developed already. It's at 1003 millibar low. If you look, you can see all the moisture is off to the north and east of the system, and even some dry air coming in on the eastern side. In order for this to be tropical, you don't want to see this comma head shape. You want to see a circular, symmetrical shape around the center circulation, the low level center. And if we even bring this up further, it even now all the precipitation is void on the southern side and western side of the system, and now it's just off to the north and to the east, but the southern side is basically void of any showers and thunderstorms. So when do I think this developed? On this run, I think this is when it first 30 hours out. For, tomorrow afternoon into evening, I think possibly we might be seeing a system being designated by the National Hurricane Center as a subtropical depression 1. I'm thinking according to the GFS. Um, but here we look at the high resolution European model, and we can see our system all the way down here, same place that the GFS has it. And if we move it out, you can see that it has it weaker, but it does develop it a little later than the GFS does. And then it keeps it, for the most part, close. It keeps it not moving far throughout this whole run, and then it lifts off as a trough comes through and tries to lift it out, which it does, but it's definitely staying weaker than the GFS. Yeah, it has strong winds around it, 25 knots. This still isn't um, tropical storm strength, but at this point, even here, it doesn't look like um, this low is closed. As you can see, we have a wind bar right here that's pointed that way, and then you have one like this. I would like to see a wind barb here that's closed like that and has westerly winds on the southern side. Um, but yeah, this doesn't on the European doesn't become a tropical storm or subtropical storm at all. Um, Looking at the relative humidity from let's look at the upper air humidity at about 850 millibars. You'll see that you can see the system. Yeah, it keeps it moist on here, but there is definitely some dry air, especially going up. You are going to see much more dry air near the system on the southern side, like I was talking about earlier. So all in all, we do have an 80% chance of seeing subtropical depression form in the next 2 days and 80% in the next five. Um, I would not be surprised if Air Force aircraft it is scheduled to go out tomorrow, and I would not be surprised if they do go out. And just looking at this for satellite loop one more time, if this center was here, it's definitely not looking great on the eastern side. Oh, and one more thing. We're going to go back here. We're going to look at the wind shear. There is a pocket of lighter wind shear off to its southeast, but as you can see, on the eastern side and the northern side, there is a lot of shear, and it's going to stay that way for most of its life, which is also going to keep it at a relatively weak system. If we take an area sounding right over the center of circulation, we have light winds, but for the most part, all the winds are um, out of the west. We can see some shear 22 to 45 um, meters squared per second squared for shear. Um, you want that very low. You don't want to see shear with a hurricane. Yeah, with severe thunderstorms, you want to see shear, um, which will help thunderstorms get going. But in a tropical cyclone's case, it will actually hinder tropical cyclone development. That is it for this video. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and then turn on those post notifications for more. Thank you so much.